Say, you are our captain and our banner. The Dark Lord has 9, but we have one, mightier than they, the White Rider. He has passed through the fire and the abyss, and they shall fear him. We will go where he leads. Okay? The description is almost mosaic. And then they ask Gandalf what happened in his battle with the Balrog. And Gandalf tells them all about falling, into the deeps and into the water and climbing up the stair. And once they broke out upon the top of the mountain, Gandalf says, I threw down my enemy, page 502. I threw down my enemy, and he fell from the high place and broke the mountainside where he smote it in his ruin. That language is almost exactly from, it's either Ezekiel or Daniel, and the description of Lucifer being cast out of heaven. Because when Lucifer hits the earth, we're told, he broke the mountainside where he smote it in his ruin. Then Gandalf tells us, then darkness took me, and I strayed out of thought and time, and I wandered far on roads that I will not tell. Now, that may just mean he was unconscious. And then when he strayed out of thought and time, he was just uncognizant of thought and time. Or, as I think, it might mean that he died. And that he strayed out of thought and time, he went to where time does not exist. Okay? In other words, in death. I wandered far on roads that I will not tell. Naked I was sent back. I was sent. Notice the mood of that. The voice of that. It's passive. There is an agent behind doing the sending. Gandalf did not do the sending. He did not send himself back. He was sent by someone more powerful than him. And he was sent back naked for a brief time until my task is done. What does that mean, naked? Well, there's two possible meanings. He was sent either without clothing back, or he was sent without form, bodiless back. And that it was only once he came back to Middle-earth that he became clothed or incarnated. And notice how long he was sent back. Until his task is done. He still has something to do. Witness that, or compare that, for those of you who have read them, with the 7th book of Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And what happens when Harry Potter goes to King's Cross late in the book. Okay? Naked I was sent back, and naked I lay upon the mountaintop. Now at that point, I think when he says that he lay naked upon the mountaintop, he means naked. He's not physically clothed. And notice, why here the Wind Lord rescues him. Okay? We skip a bunch. We go on to the King of the Golden Hall. They arrive. They have to leave their weapons outside. But Gandalf does not leave his staff. And page 514. Gandalf has finally had enough of Grima Wormtongue's talk. And he finally says, right in the middle of the page, the wise speak only of what they know, Grima, son of Galmad. A witless worm have you become, therefore be silent and keep your forked tongue behind your teeth. I have not passed through fire and death to bandy crooked words with a serving man till the lightning falls. He raises his staff, there's a roll of thunder, the sunlight is blotted out from the windows, the whole hall becomes pitch black, until all that can be seen is Gandalf standing white and tall before the blackened hearth. Notice there's not light shining on Gandalf. This is light coming out of him. Wormtongue says, Did I not counsel you, my lord, to forbid his staff? That fool Hama has betrayed us. Flash of lightning, Wormtongue sprawls on the floor. And Gandalf says, Theoden, do you ask for help? That's it. Do you ask for help? He lifts his staff, poised to a high window in the east, and suddenly they see a small shaft of light. And Gandalf says, not all is dark. In other words, it's mostly dark. It is nearly all dark, but it is not completely dark. This is a metaphor, folks. There's a little bit of hope. Not much, but there is still some hope. No counsel have I to give to those that despair, because those that despair have no hope. Counsel cannot help them. Yet counsel I could give, and words I could speak to you. Will you not hear them? I bid you come out before your doors and look abroad. And he says, too long have you sat in shadows and trusted to twisted tales and crooked promptings. There's a reason why he wants Theoden to leave the hall and go outside. And slowly Theoden gets out of his chair. Compare this with the film version. Gandalf does not point his staff at Theoden and exorcise him of Saruman who is possessing him. That is just asinine. Okay? Gandalf cries to have the doors opened. He tells Theoden to send his guards away. Theoden does. And Theoden and Gandalf go out. And Gandalf tells him, page 515, look upon your land. Breathe the free air again. Why? It's that land that is a source of legend. It is the land that is the source of life for them. And we're told, from the porch upon the top of the high terrace, they could see beyond the stream the green fields of Rohan, fading into distant gray. Curtains of wind-blown rain were slanting down. The sky above and to the west was still dark with thunder, and lightning far away flickered among the tops of hidden hills. Notice, there is still a storm, but the wind had shifted to the north, and already the storm that had come out of the east was receding. Now I think that means the wind has shifted to the north. It's coming from the north, and it's blowing that storm that had come out of the east back. Well, who has come from the north? Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli. This is the riders of the north coming, and they're pushing, as it were, Sauron back. But the wind had shifted to the north, and already the storm that had come out of the east was receding, rolling away southward to the sea. Suddenly, through a rent in the clouds behind them, a shaft of sun stabbed down. So, behind them, we get a little hole in the clouds, and the sunlight shines down. Remember the essay on fairy stories, where Tolkien talks about the eucatastrophe, and how when it happens, when you get that sudden turn, you get that lifting of the heart. Why? Because the eucatastrophe presents us a glimpse of joy. And he calls it joy beyond the confines of this world. That's what this stab of light is. There is light. There is joy. There is beauty. There is goodness that still shines. Yes, there's an awful lot of darkness. As Tolkien says in the essay, it does not deny the possibility of discatastrophe. Suddenly, through a rent in the clouds behind them, a shaft of sun stabbed down. The falling showers gleamed like silver, and far away the river glittered like a glimmering glass. And look at Theoden's words. It is not so dark here. Okay? That's the whole reason Gandalf brings him out. To see the green earth, to see the sunlight, rather than to have his mind clouded and filled with darkness from the shadows in the hall and from the words of a liar, Wormtongue. Gandalf, no. That is, no, it is not so dark. There is still hope. Nor does age lie so heavily on your shoulders as some would have you think. Cast aside your prop. Because when Theoden comes out, he's got his hand on his cane and he's leaning over it like a little stooped man. And so Gandalf wants him to throw away his stick and stand up, stern and tall, which is what he does. And we're told he drew himself up slowly as a man that is stiff from long bending. Now tall and straight he stood, and his eyes were blue as he looked into the opening sky. Why? Okay, his eyes might literally be blue, but what else is it doing? He's reflecting the blue